All right, and welcome to section 1.2, which concerns addition with whole numbers and perimeter. So let me ask you guys a question. What are some properties of addition? Like, what can we do with addition? What is allowed? Okay, so some of the characteristics or properties of addition are that it's commutative. Addition is commutative. So basically, if you have two numbers, let's say, for example, you have like 2 plus 3, you know, the sum of those two are the same. It's the same value if I was to commute or switch the order of the numbers, okay? So 2 plus 3 is the same as 3 plus 2, and they're both 5, okay? So that's kind of what this means in symbols, letters, right? Associative property, meaning that you can regroup and you can add numbers. If you have more than 2 numbers, you can add them two numbers together, regroup them, basically. Another word to think of associative property is regroup, the regrouping property. So an example of that would be, let's say, for instance, you have like 7 plus and then the quantity 3 plus 5. It might be easier for you could do this, and a lot of times we already regroup numbers mentally, right? We know that this would be 10 plus 5, which is 15. If I regroup them, if I left it as is, this would have become 7 plus 8, which also ends up being 15. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I wrote 10 here. Weird. 15. All right. Okay, and then here's another property, the identity property of addition, which is basically that it exists. And there is a number that if I add any whole number, or any number really, any number, if I add 0 to it, I get the same number, it stays the same. Okay, so you know, a number plus 0, you know, 3 plus 0 is 3, 0 plus 3 is also 3, you know, so it stays the same. So like if we have something here, we have 3 plus 5 plus 13. We could use one of these properties. We could commute the numbers and do 3 plus 13 plus 5, and we can group them any way we want. We could do 16 plus 5, and that's 21. We could have also added it the way it is, 3 plus 5 plus 13, which would be 8 plus 13, which also gives us 21. So there's just a lot of things that you can do with these properties, and you've probably already seen it, and you kind of know this intuitively, okay? So we do this a lot, but it's just nice to define them and understand what we're using, and that's kind of what we're doing here. So, okay, so that's that, and then let's talk about identifying a solution. So in your textbook, you're going to have some questions like these where when we're given an equation, we could solve them by doing inverse operation. So in other words, the opposite, in quotes, right? Opposite of addition would be subtraction, right? The inverse operation, more appropriately said inverse, okay? Or we can also do what's called like intuition. We can kind of just look at it and tell what the number is going to be. So in other words, you say here, what number plus 5 is equal to 7? Well, we know that 2 plus 5 is 7, so n must equal to 2, okay? And we can do that with all of these, really. So what number plus 6 is equal to 11? We know that that's 5. 4 plus what number will give me 5? Okay, that's 1. And then 13 is equal to what plus 8? Well, we know that that's also 5. So that's just that's intuitively. We're going to go over the other way more and further in the course. All right, so fun with geometry, polygon. What is a polygon? It's a shape, a planar shape in a plane, right? It's a geometric figure that has at least 3 sides, in which each side is a straight line segment. So here's some. You know, we have here a hexagon. Okay, triangle, popular. This is a trapezoid, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, trapezoid. Or you can think of this as a quadrilateral. There's a lot of ways to think of this one. Trapezoid, quadrilateral, actually just those. And this one has 5 sides, it's a pentagon. Okay, some examples of common. And the most common, right, are square, rectangle, triangle. And you know, the square, what are the properties of these specific polygons? Square, all the sides are the same, right? A rectangle, the opposite sides are the same or congruent. These are 90-degree angles, and if you don't know what that means, we will go over that more in depth later. But it's basically just the measurement of this here, 90 degrees. Okay, so anyways, the point was that the opposite sides are congruent. And for a triangle, the bottom portion is called the base. This is the base, and this is the height, which is the perpendicular distance from one of the vertices to the base. So again, it's a straight line connecting this vertice, has 1, 2, 3 vertices. The triangle has 3. A vertice is a point where 2 sides meet, and for example, rectangle has 4, the square has 4. And so this line connects the vertice to the base, but in a specific way that this angle is 90 degrees. So that's called the height. Okay. What about perimeter? Let's talk about what perimeter means. It's really cool because perimeter comes from this, I think the word is perimetros or something, perimetros. It was Greek, it has Greek origins, and then it was adapted, it kind of evolved into perimeter, I think via Latin. Well, anyways, what's the point of it? There's 2 parts, the words peri and meter, or metros, right, originally meaning the distance, right, meter meaning the distance, and then around, peri, so the distance around. You can think of it as the distance around a figure, right? So how do we find the perimeter of a solid figure, and what would we need to know in order to calculate this? So the perimeter of any polygon is simply just the sums of the lengths of the sides. And we use that, we usually use a capital P to indicate that that's the perimeter. Okay, so basically to find the perimeter of a polygon, we need the lengths of the sides and we add them all together. Okay, so I think we're going to do super fun examples of this. So let's say this is a square. This little line means congruent. This is a rectangle. Okay, and then this is some weird shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A pentagon, an irregular pentagon looks like. So a square, we know. So for perimeter of a square, it's each side is the same. So you're just going to add. This is in general. Okay, so that's why I'm doing S's. So basically, the shortcut would be, the perimeter would be 4 times S, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. So in this case, you have 15 inches. That means this is 15, this is 15, this is 15. You can go ahead and add them all up, or you can just take 1 and multiply it by 4. So perimeter, so here S is 15, yeah, obviously, and then we have 4 times 15, which is 60. And you can go ahead and check, if you add them all together, you'll get the same thing, 60 inches. Okay, so for a rectangle, so this is square. Okay, so for a rectangle, the perimeter is still the same, right? You add the lengths, and so there's 2 lengths and there's 2 widths, right? So so this is our length, this is our length, so this is opposite and these are opposite. So we can just go ahead and add them up this way, right? But let's go ahead and talk about in general. You would take a length and a width, because a rectangle has 2 lengths and it has 2 widths, right? So that's the formula for perimeter of a rectangle. So this way, you don't have to write it and then add it all up. There's 2 ways to think about it. You can just go ahead and insert it into the formula. So we'll let this be the length and this be the width. And it's really, it doesn't matter, because you can be looking at it any way. So it doesn't matter as long as one is the length and the other one is the width. So the perimeter for this would be 2 times 37 plus 2 times 24. And that's going to be 74 plus 48. Okay. And then finally the perimeter will be what? So this is 122, and what is the units? Feet. Okay. So let me just box my answers. Okay. And then finally, this is like a weirdo one. So all we're going to do is just, we can't really, since this is not, there's no congruent sides in this case, so we're just going to go ahead and add all the sides up together, okay? So for this, we're just going to go ahead and go, I'm going to start here and just go around, or this way, I guess, either way. 25 plus 25 plus 27 plus 20 plus 28. So then, you know, you can either put this in a calculator or do it yourself. If I do it myself, I go, okay, well, that's 50. These together is 47. And then you have the plus 28. So then you combine them. You can do these together, right? So let's say we group it this way. That's going to be 97 plus 28. And then if I add these two together, what would I get? I get 125. Okay. And the unit is yards. So the perimeter is 125 yards. Okay. Okay, so that is it for this section. And your super fun homework, I guess that didn't print out, is section 1.2, 1 through 91, every other odd. Okay, that's it for 1.2, and I will see you on the next video. Oh yeah, the secret word. So what's the secret word? The secret word for today is, well, for this section will be math. M-A-T-H. Math. Okay, so secret word is math. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so I will see you guys on the next video.